I've never found Twitter ads to work. I think it's the biggest waste of money in the world. I think you're better off writing like threads on Twitter than running a paid ad. But yeah, TikTok ads work. I think YouTube ads work. I just think it's a platforms where people want to spend time and where people are there to be entertained. Twitter, I'm not there to be entertained. I'm there to learn something.
Yeah. And Snap, I'm not sure I'm there to be entertained. I'm more there to communicate with people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's definitely hard. It's almost like, running ads on Messenger or WhatsApp.
Exactly.
It'd be a very different experience.
Yeah. It's the mindset of whoever's using the app is just, it's not there to consume ads. This is Limited Supply, the place for refreshingly real takes on what D2C is really like.
We're your hosts, Nik and Moiz. Let's start talking about money.
So I love Tapcart. It's a drag and drop builder that turns your Shopify store into a native mobile app in just a few hours. The average time to launch an app live in the App Store is just about 2 weeks.
Crazy stats. Average 43x ROI, high conversion and retention rates, 100% organic reach per push, push notification CTR 7x higher than email, over 92% engagement rate.
So Limited Supply listeners get their first 2 months of Tapcart for free. So you'll actually be able to launch your app live and test this new owned sales and marketing channel. Head to tapcart.com/limited. That is tapcart.com/limited to book a demo and start building your app today. You won't regret it. All right, we're back. We've got the third or fourth episode. We still don't know which one this is.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out. Workweek's got to figure out if they're going to allow it or not.
Yeah, that's right.
We just finished a Rumble workout. I think I hit an all-time high in terms of calories burned. That was 1,060 for me.
That's crazy.
14.9 on the Whoop strain, if anybody listening has a Whoop.
Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Mostly, it's some of the stuff is things that we wanted to cover last week and didn't get a chance to. One is what credit card should you be using? Another is state sales tax, which I think is a huge black hole for businesses. Buy with Prime, because a few more details have leaked out. Snap earnings that came out. Some SaaS pricing if we get a chance to get there as well. But let's start with credit cards, because I think that's where we ended our last episode.
Yeah.
You would name drop Parker for credit cards.
Yeah.
And tell me, do you use a Parker card? Tell me about Parker card.
So we mainly use American Express Business.
Do you use the gold or the platinum?
Platinum.
Okay.
The team uses gold. I use platinum.
You know what's great about the gold is you get something like 3x rewards points.
Yeah, it's great for ads.
Yeah, on ads.
Yeah.
For the first $100,000. So once you hit $100K, it's pretty useless.
Yeah. It's funny, all these new banks and credit card companies are basically built off the same stack. It's like they decide how to allocate their, when you swipe a card, 3% or 2.6% is charged.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to look this up, what the split is between the merchant processor, what does Authorize.net take or what does Stripe take, and what goes back to the credit card company.
Yeah.
And this is how, I don't know if you've ever seen these videos on YouTube, the airline credit card businesses are 5 times the size of the actual airline itself.
Sure, yeah.
And it's all because, you use I use a Delta American Express card and they're making 2.3% or whatever their split is of that.
Yeah.
So anyways, with these D2C credit cards, all they're doing essentially is they're just innovating on the front end, right? The back end underlying technology is still regulated and probably hard to change, but companies like Parker or Ramp or Brex, all they're really doing is making the user experience easier, whether you're a media buyer or a CFO. And so I think it's kind of interesting. Parker is one where I don't think you would use Parker across your whole business, but you could use it in ads because you get 60-day payback with no fee. And then, their intro offer, for example, is interesting. For the first 30 days, you can get 3% cash back. So basically they're saying everything we make and maybe plus a little bit more is going straight back to you.
Yeah.
And that's our cost of customer acquisition. And then we're going to keep that fee and you're not going to have to pay 1% on top of a 60-day rolling.
I think there's a lot of things to digest there. A few things that I want to mention. One is you use a Delta American Express.
Only because, have you seen it?
Yeah, because it's metal.
It's got the plane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
They made it of a plane.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
obsessed
really
with
awesome.
planes.
Yeah. That's called Delta. They call them Delta Sky Miles, and everyone in the frequent flyer community calls them Delta Sky Pesos because
they're not worth anything.
So one of the businesses that I'm an investor in, I'm looking at their Stripe account right now. They have $745,000 in credit card charges over the past 30 days, let's say. And, this isn't their entire business because they've got a bunch of, they take PayPal and Amazon Pay. The network costs are that they pay interchange. Basically, the amount Visa gets is $18,000. like, that's how much credit card fees that they've got.
Right.
And then which is what, 18,000.
And this is processed through Shopify Pays?
No,
payments?
directly through.
Or directly on Stripe?
Yeah, directly through Stripe.
Okay.
750, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that's 2.4%. And that includes the credit card swipe fee and everything.
Okay.
So they're paying.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, they're paying 18,000. These guys have great rates.
Yeah.
18,500 in network costs. And then Stripe is getting $2,140.53 on this business that charged $745,000 in the last 30 days. So Stripe's cut is 2,000 out of 745. The banks are 18,582 out of 745.
Wow.
Just for some context in terms of how things get split up. When I think about credit cards, I think of two different things. One is some businesses are like, look, we need terms because we're using this as a financing.
Right.
And those instances, I think the Parkers are great. There have been a lot of good and bad things said about Brex. I think Brex sort of pioneered this industry.
Agreed.
Of like coming out with new credit cards or at least making it big. The problem was they consistently change their underwriting standards where something will happen and they'll be like, oh my God, we're no longer giving you any terms. We're shutting down your account.
Yeah.
I had an American Express card, and when COVID hit, one of our businesses, I had an American Express card. One of our businesses got a call from American Express and was like, give us your new financials because we're getting scared as well. They never changed the credit they were giving or anything like that. Brex changed credit lines for a lot of businesses and shut down a lot of accounts when they thought there was market uncertainty. Like their underwriting standards.
I feel like they also just announced if you didn't raise money, you're not getting a Brex account.
That's terrible.
I wonder what happened to our Brex account.
So I think there are great credit cards if you're looking for financing, but if you're not looking for financing, there's a Bank of America cashback card, which gives 2.625% cash back.
So it's free.
Literally, it's more than this business is paying. Like Bank of America loses money looking at these Stripe rates that this business is paying.
Right.
They're giving more money than they're charging here. And it's the best credit card in the world for cash back, 2.62%. There's other cards that may be better if you try and optimize for things for miles, like that American Express Gold. You get 3 points for every dollar you spend on Facebook ads for the first $100,000.
Right.
If you have less than $100,000 in spend a year, it's great. If you have $200,000, you can probably get 2 American Express Gold cards. If you've got $10 million in Facebook ad spend, you don't have the ability to get 100 different American Express Gold cards.
At some point, it stops.
Yeah. I got to meet the Marriott's. I was using SPG a long time ago when I was running native in 2015. I got to meet, and the other thing I love about credit card cash back is it's tax free. So you get 2.62% back from this Bank of America card,
right?
Tax free. Add 40% because that's how much you'd pay in taxes, right? So it's basically 3.5, 3.7 on this credit card, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
One guy that I know has been running this business, he's gotten $1 million in cash back from this Bank of America card.
Wow.
And it's tax-free.
Wow.
And that $1 million is tax-free, so it'd be like earning $1.8 million.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
That's amazing.
So I'm if your business can do it, I try and optimize for the points.
Right.
I got to meet the Marriott CEO once, and I was like, who has the most Marriott rewards points? Because I thought it was me. I'd spent so much money on my Marriott credit card or my SPG credit card.
You were doing that for native ads?
Yeah, in 2015 or really early on.
Yeah.
And he's like, someone has 5 million points. And I was like, dude, I've got way more than 5 million points. You don't know what you're talking, who has the most? And he's like, go talk to our VP of loyalty over there. She might know. And so I was like, hey, I just talked to Arnie and he said to talk to you, who has the most Marriott credit card rewards points or most Marriott points? And she's like, someone has 25 million. I was like, no, I've got more than 25 million. It's not them. I was like, who is it? You must know who this is. And they're like, believe it or not, our system doesn't allow us to sort by who has the most points. So we know how many points people have in general, in cumulative amounts.
Yeah.
But we don't know who has the most. So they're like, we don't know if, and I had something like 40 million points at that time.
Wow.
And they're like, we don't know if this is the most or not. But I was trying to get them.
So your credit card stack was Amex and then Marriott?
And United and Capital, I've been through many because once you get enough Marriott points, you're like, okay, I need to diversify.
Right.
Then you get enough American Express points, then you're like, I need to diversify
your vacation streams.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I've got north of 20 million Marriott, north of 20 million Amex.
Yeah.
North of 10 million United.
I
love a credit card.
If you invest in a business and a founder is like, all right, we have the choice between the 60-day payment terms, ramp. Let's say you're also an investor in Ramp.
Yeah.
Ramp as an option. And what you did, I'm going to go use whatever because on my weekends, I'm flying somewhere and enjoying the weekend. Would you say that the points belong to the business Or would you say like, hey, founder, go use those points on your own?
I generally think it's like the scale of the business. And, most guys who are raising money are probably not in a situation where they're throwing off a ton of cash. And so I think it belongs to the business. And, I heard from the Rumorville that basically MeUndies was using this Capital One card that gave you 2% back to help them reduce the cost of Facebook ads by 2%. And I really respect that. There's a business I'm an investor in that's a pretty big scale. And they're like, in the contract with the CEO, they're like, your credit card rewards points are yours as your bonus. Like that is your bonus for the year.
Oh, wow.
And so it does get to like, sometimes we're talking about 7 figures a year in value. And that's not nothing. So I think it is worthy of a discussion and a determination of who these points belong to. And I think, people can be open and honest about it and be like, these points are mine or these points are not mine.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
But the hard part is when you sell the business, P&G didn't buy my Marriott points, right? Like
right.
They bought the business. And so those Marriott points remain.
Can you not transfer them?
I have no idea if you can transfer them, to be honest.
Do you still have access to them or no?
Yeah, those are my Marriott.
Oh,
It's pre-acquisition. It wasn't like, and you list out the balance sheet. I wasn't like, we also own Marriott points.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was like, that's not part of the transaction here.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Okay. So that's, I think, a great summary of credit cards. There's a Bank of America card, which I think is fantastic if you're looking for.
And is there a limit to the cash back there? Oh, okay.
What you do need to do in order to get that much in cash back is you have to have $100,000 in a Bank of America account sitting in the cash, or like, in your Merrill Lynch account in investments, and that's fine too. But you need to keep that $100,000 there. And then these guys throw off 2.625%.
Wow, that's a huge hack.
It's insane. It is so much money. I mean, you're getting 3.5% back,
if you spend $200,000 a month and use that card, you can pay for a TikTok content creator to work for you for completely free as a result of those points.
Yeah, that's
tax free.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody should be doing that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you just have to not need terms, right? Because they give you 30-day terms or like the regular terms of a credit card. So as long as you don't need more than that 30 days to pay off the card, everyone should be using that card.
Agreed.
Okay, let's talk about state sales tax, which I think has been a huge black hole. Someone needs to get Congress to step in, because basically what happens now, when I was running Native independently, we already had to remit sales tax in every single county in California. And I was like, there are 50 counties here, and I got to do this quarterly by hand. I got to upload all this information. This is too hard. And now, you have to do it in every county in every state if you're a business doing north of $5 million.
Right.
And like, the solutions out there, which are TaxJar and Avalara, are both super expensive.
Right.
We're talking about $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
Yeah, it's either Avalara or you like hire somebody full time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are just not doing it, to be frank, as well.
Agreed.
Like they're not collecting sales tax correctly, and I don't even blame them, because if you're a $2 million a year business, you may not be able to afford $50,000 a year, like a $2 million revenue business. You have to spend $50,000 a year in these compliance costs. It's insane. We need a federal law here so that every state isn't doing their own little bullshit.
Agreed. And county.
And county, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think there's an opportunity for someone to be like, all right, I'm going to charge you 10 grand as a one-time thing. I'm going to come in and set everything up?
I think it's more complicated than that, because like every quarter, some counties are like every month you need to remit your sales tax. Some counties are like every quarter you need to remit your sales tax. So you've got to be like, get the amount of sales tax that you owe to that county at the end of the month. It's almost the end of July, at the end of July, and then remit it. And some businesses, or some counties, you got to wait till, the end of September and then remit it. So you got to know which counties to do.
How did you guys do it?
We did it before that law came out. So Wayfair came out in like 2017 or 2018. In 2015 and 16, you didn't need to do that.
Got it.
Then this law came out and everyone's like, we don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
And there's still a little bit of a black hole, I think.
And wonder who was behind the law creation, Avalara.
Yeah, I think Amazon was also being like, we need a lot more clarity, and we don't care if we have to pay state sales tax, because we can collect, and we've got the, for us, it's worth it. We're doing billions of dollars, but for a $3 million a year business, it's really tough.
Yeah.
The part where this gets a lot more tricky, because like, okay, if you're in compliance or not in compliance, there's probably somebody's doing something that's not in compliance right now. Warren Buffett has this great quote. He's like, if a police officer follows you for 50 miles on the road, he's going to be able to pull you over for something.
Right.
You're going to have committed some traffic violation. I think most businesses are not in compliance with at least one thing here. The hard part is here, when you sell your business, that state sales tax is a big issue now in sales of businesses, where sometimes if I'm buying your business, I'm like, have you remitted state sales tax? And if you say no, then I'm like, okay, I was going to pay you $1 million. We need to put $200,000 in escrow in case any state comes after us. And some will say, instead of the 200,000 in escrow, I was going to pay you $1 million. Now you get 800,000. I'm going to take that 200,000 and actually go out, pay off the states that you owe and have not paid. So it's affecting M&A deal prices. And some states are saying you're personally liable for it. If you like collected it and didn't remit it, you as the CEO owe the money out of your own bank account personally, not the company.
Wow.
And so it's really affecting, like I know founders who are in trouble here as a result of collecting and not remitting in every state, which they shouldn't have done. But now they're like, we might be personally liable for this.
Right.
And we never thought of it as our money. It was sort of business money, right?
Right. It was like a cash flow helper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they shouldn't have done that, no question, but they're personally liable for it. And that's a huge thing now.
Wow. That's gnarly.
Yeah. And so I think that we need something to happen with state sales tax. Nothing has. It's a huge black hole and causing a bunch of people a lot of heartburn and a lot of violations that shouldn't exist.
I wonder why Avalara charges so much. Is it just because they can, because they're the only option?
There's another business called TaxJar that does it, and TaxJar was acquired by Stripe. Okay. And I know that Stripe is creating their own, and they bought TaxJar, and they're ultimately going to merge these two things.
Got it. I would bet on Stripe to fix this problem for small businesses.
Yeah, me too. And in particular, you're just like, look, if everything's running through Stripe, it's pretty great anyway. Avalara is a publicly traded company, though. I don't know what their stock looks like right now. Not hit as bad as I thought. 50% down in the last year. Okay, that's not very good.
So Avalara going down 50%. And, some other metrics I like to look at are like subway traffic or airport traffic. What are other metrics you look at to be like, all right, where's the world going in 3 months? Like if you could create one report every month that comes to you, what would you put in there? Avalara stock price, I think, is a great indicator. I think Amazon stock price is probably a good indicator too.
Yeah, I think both of those are probably
airport
true.
Traffic, subway traffic.
Yeah.
Cost of billboards, maybe.
Also things like housing, like what is rent? We're talking about like, one of the things I'd love to chat about if we've got time is like inflation. Inflation print in June was 9.1%, which is crazy, but a lot of that was due to really high gasoline prices. House prices, I own something like 200 single family homes that I rent out. And the rents in these, I bought this fourplex about a year and a half ago. And I thought, okay, the rent is going to be $1,200 per unit. And so I can afford to buy this. I paid $600,000 for 4 units that were brand new construction. And I was like, I'm going to rent them out for $1,200 each. I get $4,800 a month. I've got a little bit of cost in terms of property tax, which I got to maintain. There shouldn't be much repairs because it's a brand new building. Mm-hmm. I rented them out. I made the offer. We signed the contract. I closed the deal. And it took about 45 days for all that to happen.
To buy the house.
To buy the place, yeah. Okay. But between me looking at it, thinking, okay, $1,200, making an offer, them accepting it, drafting the contract, signing it, and me wiring the funds, it was about a 45-day process.
Okay.
Between me looking at it and me getting the actual title and owning it. And between that amount of time, rents went from $1,200 to like $1,550.
Wow.
And now those units are up for renewal, and I'm getting $1,700, $1,800.
Wow.
And, that's an insane amount of increase. It was $1,200 18 months ago. Now it's $1,800. Like people can't afford that. And rents need to come down to a more realistic level. And I think I'd really be paying attention to rents right now because I think they're primarily fueling inflation. And it's hard to get those things to come down right now.
Interesting. That was a selfish ask because I'm having somebody on my team put this together.
Okay, yeah, rents would be...
So we're going to add rent
to
that.
CPI, inflation prints, that would be on there. And probably also what does the S&P 500 been doing?
Right.
And what's the PE ratio look like?
Yeah, solid. All right, let's get into Buy with Prime. So we talked about this on the last episode.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go ask somebody at Shopify. You actually got the pricing.
I got the pricing.
How'd you get it?
I got it because one of the businesses that I'm an investor in is thinking about doing Buy with Prime.
Okay, cool.
And they're like, we had a conversation about this. And the guy who's running this business, I love him so much. He's like so thoughtful about this. But let's talk about the pricing for a second first.
Yep.
So the Buy with Prime is basically there's a button on your product page. And that button means, someone clicks it and checks out through Amazon and your order is fulfilled through Amazon. So fulfillment is starting at $4.75 per unit fulfilled and 83 cents per cubic foot stored. The Prime service, so actually the Amazon fees around this, not the fulfillment services, are 3% of the order value.
Wow.
$1.50 minimum. So, if you're selling a $10 item, this is eating up 15% of your cost. So it's a little bit tough. If you're selling a $30 item, okay, no problem. And then Amazon charges a 2.4% plus 30 cents transaction fee. And I think that 2.4%, I think that he mentioned that it's going up to 2.9%.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I was even looking at the pricing differences between like Square, Clover, and Stripe.
Yeah.
The lowest you can get is 2.3, but you have to pay some hefty fee. The average is 2.6.
For like a credit card transaction fees?
Yeah, in person.
In person.
So not in person. I think 2.9 is probably the average you'd get, unless you're like, that business you mentioned that's getting 2.4.
2.9 is the starting rate Stripe charges you. Like
Right.
If you just sign up for a Stripe rate, it's 2.9%.
Right.
If you get to like $1 million in scale, they'll generally knock you down to 2.75. I think a native, I was at 2.2 plus 30 or plus 25 cents when I left.
Wow.
So you can really negotiate. And that's a great thing to negotiate because all it does is
actually,
save you
one
money.
thing I learned from you is like every milestone you go and negotiate.
Yeah,
Even if
that's
they're
right.
like, fuck you, you just still go for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. And like, you keep following up and be like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Hey, I just hit a milestone. Celebrate with me with lower prices.
Yeah. We, with hooks that we launched hooks like a couple months ago, and the first 100,000, I was like, hello, can we get a reduction? No response. It's 200,000. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing it until
definitely.
they do it.
Yeah. And message the CEO.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
LinkedIn the CEO and be like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So a little bit more detail about Buy with Prime. You own the customer data and that you own their email address and can contact them. No contract required here. Also, Amazon pays you out weekly. Stripe pays you out basically daily with a 3-day or 4-day lag. Amazon, I think, here is going to pay you out weekly. A couple of the things that are really scary here is, one, you still have to collect the sales tax and remit the sales tax. So going back to our state
that's on
sales tax,
top of this.
This is still on you, which is a little scary. The other part is that you can only buy one SKU at a time. So for instance, let's say people are used to buying a bottle of water or like a coffee cup and a pound of coffee beans.
Right.
You cannot buy both of those things. You can't add two things to your cart and then buy with Prime. The Buy with Prime badge or button lives on your product page. And as a result, you can only click it from the product page and you're immediately taken to Amazon, which means you can only purchase one SKU at a time, which means it might be hard to bundle products together. And I think a lot of our Shopify website owners, or a lot of Shopify website owners are basically like, how do I bundle things to get my AOV up? Here, you're not going to be able to do that easily. So it's not like I can be like, okay, here's, you just added a pound of coffee beans to your cart, pop up, add 2 more and save a little bit. No, you don't get to do that here to try and get somebody to buy 3. And you can't assemble a cart and then get them to buy with Prime. It's just one item on the product page that goes and you have to buy with Prime. So I think it'll bring AOV down, and I think that's what people are scared of.
Do you know the cost of shipping? Because this screenshot doesn't have the cost of actual shipping on it.
The cost of shipping?
Or is that the $475 per unit fulfilled?
Starting at $475 per unit fulfilled. I'm pretty
starting,
sure
I'd assume, is like the 3 to 5 day.
Starting with 3 to 5 day shipping rates? Yeah, I guess so.
Right? So I just did the math here. So let's say your product's $25. Mm-hmm. And that's completely gross. That's before any discounts or whatever. So $475 goes away. That's 3 to 5 day shipping. 3% of the order value goes away.
Yeah.
And then the Amazon Pay fee goes away, and then 30 cents goes away. So on a $25 order, you're making 18.6 with 5 day shipping.
So a couple quick things there. The $20 order, so you have a $1.50 fee. That's the Prime service is a minimum $1.50 fee. So you're down to $18.50 there, because like 3% of $20 is just 60
but is
cents,
it
right?
It's 3% of the order value, right?
Yeah, which is $20 here.
Or $1.50. Oh no, I put 25.
Oh, you put 25. Sorry. Okay, gotcha. But 3% of that is just 75 cents. So they'll take $1.50 here. It's $1.50 minimum.
Right.
So that's how you got to 1860. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. You took $1.50. Okay, the fulfillment service, it's $475. It's actually 1 or 2 day. It's Prime service. It's still Prime service. They're just saying get it at 3 to 5 day shipping rates. So it says get 1 day and 2 day delivery at 3 to 5 shipping rates.
Got it.
So yeah, let's say it's $475 there, $1.50 at the other place. So you're at $625 plus 2.4 plus. Yeah, so 1860 sounds pretty reasonable.
The funny part is, like, regardless of whether or not you claim the Prime badge, like it is Prime service level shipping.
Yeah.
The badge thing is so interesting. Like, the Whole 30 badge is another one. The Leaping Bunny badge is another one. These badges are massive businesses.
Yeah. They are massive.
And they
businesses.
have annual renewals or percentage based on order.
Yeah.
It's insane. Even the Susan G. Komen breast
Foundation?
cancer,
Costs
you
money.
have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to promote that.
If you win the Allure,
or to donate money.
If you win an Allure Beauty Award and then you use the badge money to say, hey, I won an Allure Beauty Award, they're like, we're charging you here.
Yeah.
I recently, I got an email where I'm like, you've been nominated as a beauty icon of the year nominee or something. And they're like, to accept this nomination, pay $750. I was like, you guys are criminals.
Yeah.
You guys are literally like
just making up awards at this point.
This is a complete scam. But like, the Amazon stuff, a lot of the charges are you're gonna have to pay anyway. Like 100%. That $4.75 fulfillment, that's cheaper than you're gonna pay. The Amazon Pay cost 2.4% plus 30 cents. That's what you're gonna have to pay as well. The Prime service is different, but the customer gets the product in 1 to 2 days. Yeah. And I think Amazon handles returns and customer service, so it also makes it a lot easier.
That is nice. The customer service is
like it's basically just launching today. I think the benefits are huge. Fast service. You log into Amazon, so your address is saved, your credit card information is saved. So very few like issues with conversion rates. I think the hard part is just like your AOV is going to take a hit, and is that okay?
So the screenshot we have is just one slide, but the notes you have. So back to the AOV thing, you can only sell one unit. Or
you can sell more than one unit, but one item. So it lives on your PDP page, right? So like, let's say you're selling this bottle of water you got here.
Yeah.
That bottle of water is, you click buy with Prime and you're immediately taken to Amazon site.
I see. It's
you
just
can't go
single
around and continue
orders.
shopping.
Got it.
And build a cart and be like, okay, I've got this cart. Let me go buy with Prime.
Now I'm going to go buy with Prime.
No. Because Amazon might not have all those items in stock, right? So you might be selling that bottle of water on Amazon, but you might not be selling that iPad on Amazon.
Got it.
So people can't build a cart. They can only do it right off the product page.
Got it. Makes sense.
So anyway, you're really curious to see how this works out in the next few months. Yeah. I'm sure brands are going to adopt this. I wonder what the uptake rate is of those brands and then of consumers. And do consumers get way more comfortable? I think it's a genius part on Amazon's move, which is you were driving all this Facebook ad traffic and TikTok ad traffic to your website. Well, we're going to capture that too now.
Yeah.
So I think it's really genius on their part.
Agreed.
Okay, let's switch gears here and talk about something that just happened this last week, which is Snap. Snap earnings came out. Their revenue is up 13% year over year, which is their slowest growth ever. And as a result, their stock fell 40%. And I saw all these clips on Twitter and on Reddit where Jim Cramer, Snap stock is trading at $10 a share. I saw all these clips where Jim Cramer was recommending the stock at $90 a share. It's hilarious. I love watching Jim Cramer recommend things and then be so off.
You just got to do everything he says to do. You got to do the opposite. Yeah.
So I guess I want to ask you two questions because I think you'll have good insight into this.
Yeah.
Do you think Snap growth is slow as a result of the economy and the market slowing, or is TikTok eating Snap's lunch?
I think TikTok's eating Snap's lunch. You know what's interesting is like Snap, as a platform, Snap hasn't really innovated. Like they tried to do a huge play with content and creating their own shows. And I don't think that really worked because no one wants to go to their app where they send nudes and then watch, like 12-year-olds talk about pop culture. And TikTok is just like TikTok just innovates so much faster. Yeah. Like, almost every month when you open TikTok, there's some new UI change or new UX change, or they add something to the platform, or they test something. Snap just like doesn't test anything. Yeah. And I feel like all the people I have on Snap are like the people I don't care about looking at what they're doing from high school. And I think their ad product too hasn't been like insanely innovative. I mean, I remember testing Snap ads when it was in the alpha. Yeah. And I did it at Hint. This was like pre-Pixel. And I remember the first couple $1,000s of ad spend, it was like the ad would load and then the web page would load behind it. And it completely fucked all your retargeting audiences and your analytics because everything was like a page view of half a second with a bounce rate that went through the roof. And then we stopped using it. And then I don't think it was ever like a huge part of the stack. I do remember a friend of mine worked at Rimowa. He did all their digital acquisition. And he said that like their retargeting on Snap was great. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that people today are like excited to run ads on Snap. I think everybody's excited to run ads on TikTok and YouTube. And, I have this tweet in front of me and it basically says TikTok will generate 12 billion from ads this year. And it's expected to generate double that next year.
Wow.
Or sorry, in 2024.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's insane growth. Yeah. And, the only other platform that is obviously not Facebook, but it looks like YouTube is expected to be there 2024. Snap and Twitter are both between around 6 to 8 billion in advertising revenue. I've never found Twitter ads to work. I think it's the biggest waste of money in the world. I think you're better off writing like threads on Twitter than running a paid ad. But yeah, TikTok ads work. I think YouTube ads work. I just think it's a platform where people want to spend time and where people are there to be entertained. Twitter, I'm like, I'm not there to be entertained. I'm there to learn something.
Yeah. And Snap, I'm not sure I'm there to be entertained. I'm more there to communicate with people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's definitely hard. It's almost like, running ads on Messenger or WhatsApp.
Exactly.
It'd be a very different experience.
Yeah. It's the mindset of whoever's using the app is just, it's not there to consume ads.
Yeah. I remember Netflix was like, we're not competing with television anymore. We're competing with TikTok now. Like, it's really interesting to see how the market has evolved. What's crazy is that Snap has very few e-commerce advertisers. I remember when I was advertising, I also started advertising on Snap during the alpha or the beta. And I remember doing a call with their team and being looking at the platform. And I was like, this is garbage, but it's, such cheap eyeballs. So I've got to try it. Like, that's the benefit of having to deal with garbage is you get you get lower prices. And for like a month it worked. And I remember thinking our business is doing really well right now. And we don't have enough inventory. So I'm going to turn off my Snap ads, but in about 2 or 3 months we'll have ramped up our inventory and then I'll turn them back on. And so I was almost saving them as like a bullet in my, arsenal. And then 2 or 3 months later, I tried to turn on Snap ads and they were terrible. And I was like, well, I lost the opportunity here. And it really made me realize, one, I should take advantage of those opportunities.
Sure.
And things don't just stick around for a while. There's very few e-commerce advertisers on Snap. It's not like Facebook or TikTok that both have those categories. Twitter doesn't have that category either. Snap will be like, look, we got DraftKings to drop $1 million a day for the next 30 days. We have Netflix dropping $1 million a day to promote a new movie that's coming out. They don't have a lot of direct response advertisers.
Agreed.
And so I don't think they've figured it out. Like, I don't think they've spent the time or resources to be like, how do we get e-commerce businesses to start advertising here? And I'm not even sure they have like apps like mobile gaming to be like, let's spend money here. They definitely have brand advertisers like Netflix. I wouldn't be surprised about Rimawa because they do a bunch of like brand ads as well. Yeah. They've not figured out direct response.
So recently I bought a brand and we put it on Tapcart pretty quickly. It was almost one of the first things that we did as far as relaunching the brand. It's been huge for building out a push subscriber list as well as increasing our conversion rate among customers who already love us and use our product because it's such a consumable product.
Features include the ability to put out exclusive product drops and launch products early to mobile app users. On average, Tapcart users see 10 to 30% app adoption rates from their existing customer base. And you don't need to worry about getting downloads or figuring out how to market an app because Tapcart has you covered and can even coach you on how to drive subscribers.
Start today with a demo and 1 month free at tapcart.com. Another thing is, back in the day, your ads would open directly in a browser, like your actual native browser. The best days. And now you have like the Snap browser, which just looks like something that like a 10-year-old, it looks like a parental controlled like browser. It doesn't look like anything sophisticated,
I know exactly what you're talking about. There was a switch. And basically what Nick's talking about is you'd click an ad on Facebook and for a while it would open up Safari, your mobile Safari browser on your iPhone, and you'd see the ad in mobile Safari. And to go back to the Facebook app, you'd basically have to switch apps. Now what happens is you click an ad and it opens up in a Facebook browser.
The big X at the top.
Yeah, big X at the top. You can easily accidentally go back to Facebook because instead of having to switch apps, you just sort of go back, to go back a page and you end up going back to Facebook. And so that's really been a problem. I remember I tried to create a link where I was like, how do I get this link
like
to
deep
open
link
up
into
Safari?
Yeah.
And I talked to a couple of developers and they're like, that's not possible here. It really made ad performance worse, like materially worse. And I think that change happened in like 2016. And I was like, fuck, there's nothing you can do and you got to live with it. But it is definitely a worse experience.
One thing I'm excited to try with Long Weekend is actually run app install ads for our Long Weekend Tapcart app.
Yeah.
And then try to deep link people who've installed the app directly to the app. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm going to try it.
Tell us what the cost is between cost per install and a cost per conversion.
Acquire. Yeah.
Totally. I'd be really curious to find out what that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, big earnings week coming up. Facebook is coming up. Shopify is coming up. Like, I think Facebook's going to have a good quarter. Twitter didn't have a great quarter. Snap had a terrible quarter. From the brands that I've chatted with, Facebook is firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
I've talked with a bunch of brands that are basically like, we've doubled our business since July of last year when we had all these iOS issues to now. I'm super bullish on Facebook. Today's Saturday, July 23rd, so we're about 4 days in advance of it. I'm not sure when this episode will drop, but we'll see if we're proven correctly. I think Facebook will beat earnings.
Agreed. All right, should we get into SaaS pricing?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Klaviyo announced a price increase.
Yeah.
Slack also had a notification. I had a notification in my Slack, which was basically your price is going up. I think it's like $2 or $3 per user per month, which is a lot of money, especially for like a company.
Yeah.
Or you could pay today's price, lock it in for a year, pay it all right now, and you're good. So it was like you could either go fuck yourself, you could either go fuck yourself. You choose. But it's crazy because I'm not a developer and I don't know the cost of, hosting servers and whatnot. But in my mind, it's like they're not paying anything additional.
Yeah.
Whether I have 10 users or I have 5 users or whether they charge me $10 or whether they charge me $100, their cost to host me is the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Their server
or
cost
minimal.
is so yeah. Adding another user is a de minimis cost for them. We're talking about pennies a year. Yeah. They just have you by the balls.
Yeah. And it's like, we're not going to leave Slack.
Yeah.
We're not going to leave Klaviyo.
Yeah.
Where would we go? Nowhere.
There's this company out of Texas called Vista Equity Partners, which it's run by the richest black guy in America. Mm-hmm. And he wears 3-piece suits, and everybody who works there, the first thing they do is they go buy a 3-piece suit. I don't care if you're a woman, you're like, I need a 3-piece suit now because this guy's wearing 3-piece suits.
I heard their office dog is a 3-piece suit.
Sorry, their office dog has one. And their business model is we come in, we buy a SaaS business, we double prices, we sell the business, and we leave.
It.
Yeah. And, if we can triple prices, we triple prices.
Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful business idea.
Yeah.
It's generally worked incredibly well for them. There was a company that bought stamps.com. I think it was Thomas Bravo. It's a private equity firm. And they bought ShipStation. Like Stamps.com owns ShipStation. And, ShipStation is so underpriced. It's like $10 a user. And so if you've got 10 users and you're doing 25,000 you're doing 10,000 transactions a day, it's still like $80 a month or something like that, or $100, $200 a month.
Right.
And then as soon as they bought it, they're like, okay, we're charging you per sale that you have. If you have 200,000 transactions a month, we want, 10 cents from each transaction. And they basically increase prices by 10x. Because they're like, you're using it more, we're going to charge you more for it. And they're doing price discrimination, and that's working really well for them, I think. I don't know. I think people will leave at some point, is the honest answer. Like, I had a couple, like, Gorgeous prices. I'm an investor in Gorgeous. Are you an investor in Gorgeous?
No, but we use it a lot.
Gorgeous prices are insane.
Yeah, they've gotten
people
up.
leave Gorgeous because the prices are so high.
Right.
Klaviyo prices are up. Recharge has pretty shitty service with really
The
expensive
worst.
prices.
You never get a reply.
You never get a reply. And I remember I chatted with Recharge once when, like, before there was retention, Smarter and Skio. And I was like, hey, look at these 15, we just switched to Shopify. We just switched to Recharge. Here are 15 hair on fire problems that I have with Recharge. And they're like, well, go fuck yourself. Maybe Recharge isn't for you. And I was like, go fuck yourself. And, there was no other option because they had monopoly power.
They were the
There's
only
nobody
ones.
else.
Yeah.
And now that they don't, I'm sure these businesses are eating their lunch.
Yeah.
Because everyone's been pissed off at this company for a long time.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. They've raised a fortune from Summit. Summit's just like raise prices, do nothing, fuck your service, fuck your customers. And, all these brands are coming in eating their lunch. I think that'll happen. These prices have got to come down.
I think so too.
Klaviyo, I'm not sure what happens with Klaviyo. Like, do they lose customers? Do they not? I think so. I think they will lose some customers. And I think in particular, if you're a new brand and you're looking at pricing, if you're an old brand or you're doing $10 million a year, it's already hard to switch and you've got flows built out. If you're a new brand starting and you're like, oh, you know what? OmniSend offers 90% of the features that Klaviyo does. Maybe I'll use OmniSend to start out with.
Yeah, I remember, again, when I was at Hint, this was probably like 5 years ago, I messaged the CEO of Recharge on LinkedIn and I said, for the love of God, please make it easy to make a cart direct permalink.
Yeah.
So I can build a landing page. You click one button, it drops you in the cart, variety pack with a subscription. He said, it'll be out by January next year, 2018. And they still don't have this. It just doesn't exist.
What is wrong with
them? It's probably something they could build in a weekend if they wanted to. Maybe less, maybe a day.
I honestly don't know what they're doing over there. Like, do they have one developer? I think they have like a Manscaped, Dr. Squatch, and Billy are probably 3 of their top 5 customers. And I think they have one developer supporting the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
Go fucking do something over there. What do you guys,
there's
these
no
guys
innovation
are coming for you.
No innovation.
And to be honest, if I were starting a business today, I wouldn't even look at Recharge. I'd look at all these upstarts because I'm like, they're hungry. They're hiring engineers and they're building real product.
Yeah.
These guys who have a bunch of money are just looking at cash flow and they're not looking at product any longer.
Yeah. Even, our favorite, Yotpo.
Yeah.
Like Yotpo is another one that I feel like hasn't really, they've innovated by acquisition, but that's it.
I think they're learning their lesson a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, before I thought it was just me shitting on them on Twitter. And I remember my favorite tweet ever that I wrote was, if you want to save money on income taxes, use Yotpo. You'll have no income left. Ask your accountant for more information. But like now they're like trying to put some basic starter prices on their website. Like I had a conversation once with one of their executives and they're like, we're going to do this in 2 weeks. And that was a year ago and it didn't happen for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Now I do see some prices. It says starting at, and like, the starting at plans are so small that if you're doing any scale, you have to give them a call. And there's so much price discrimination. They lock you into contracts and they don't let you out of contracts. And I think everyone still hates them. And I kind of do too. When I talk to people who work at Yotpo now, they're like, we understand that this is a problem for people.
Yeah.
And before they're like, go fuck everyone. We're Yotpo. We're the man.
Right.
Give us your money.
Right.
And now they're like, okay, I see people hate us.
There was a time a few months ago when they really wanted to partner up with me and do something.
Yeah.
Pretty hefty offer. And I was like, guys, until you change your pricing, nothing's happening. And then I think that like Saturday or Sunday, I got an email from somebody in their marketing team and it was like to a Google Sheet link and it was like, this is our new pricing going live next week.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, okay. But then, we'd already decided to jump into Okendo.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for them for at least like changing their pricing.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that's one of the things that startups do. It's like a byproduct of a good startup is you change the industry.
Yeah.
Like you force everybody to do better or innovate more or drive more value.
Yeah.
And that's why like Avalara is not going to do anything right now because there's nobody there.
Yeah.
But, like Reviews is going through that. Zendesk went through that with Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's going to do that in email. I'd be shocked if somebody doesn't.
Klaviyo like changed the industry and made MailChimp create like real I used MailChimp in my first business. It was like, do you want to email everybody or nobody? Those are your options.
Right.
And, there was no segmentation possible. And Klaviyo was like, let's show you what segmentation can do and really change that industry.
Yeah.
Yotpo pricing is still insane. And so I still can't endorse. I respect that they're thinking about it finally, but it's still outrageous. And I'll tell you the reason that I shit on them so much is when we were looking for a review service at Native, I think they wanted like $80,000 a year. And I was like, I'm going to buy you a fucking S500 Mercedes-Benz every year to run reviews. Are you fucking kidding me? Is the CEO going to give me a blowjob in the back of that S500 daily? Get the fuck out of here. I was so, I was never more upset at them. I was like, this is criminal
What'd you end up
behavior.
using?
We used Stamp.io.
Okay, nice.
Which sold their business.
For 100, right?
I think it was for 100 million or like 85 million and a $15 million earnout, something to that effect, to eCommerce. We should talk about eCommerce. I haven't done enough research yet, but their stock prices come down quite a bit.
What are your thoughts on order-based pricing in general? I can't stand it. Because I know their cost doesn't increase at all. It's like the Slack thing. Their cost increases maybe a penny a year for an extra 1,000 orders.
Yeah. Well, I understand why people do it because it's basically like...
If I was on that side, it makes sense.
Price discrimination, yeah. Like it's like a printer, right? Like the more you need this printer, the more, you'd have to buy ink. Right. And ink is where we charge you. We don't charge you for the printer. We charge you for the ink. And same thing with like Gillette razor blades, right? Like, that razor blade is a fucking fortune. What's going on in there?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? Is there baby stem cells in the Gillette razor blade that it costs $8 for 5 blades? You guys have been making this for 100 years, right?
Yeah.
The cost could come down or no? You have a machine or are you guys doing it by pounding steel by hand? I don't understand what's going on here. So I think there's a lot of those businesses. I hate order-based pricing too. I'll tell you the one exception to it is text messaging, where text messages
because they have an actual cost.
Money. Yeah.
They have a cost to Twilio.
Yeah, that cost is legitimate.
Yeah, that makes sense. But like the prices based on order volume makes no sense. Also, I think if you're a reviews company, you should price based on how many reviews come in, not how many orders are made.
Yeah,
because you could get your reviews app set up and just have a terrible onboarding, and then your arbitrage is having a bad onboarding, but still charging everybody by the order.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, Yeah. We used at the time Stamped offered us flat fee pricing. They're like, get as many reviews as you want. Don't get as any reviews. We don't really care.
Right.
This is your price. And their service used to be incredible. Pre-acquisition,
right.
Their service was you'd email this guy. I'm not sure if Tommy's a real person or not. I'd email him at 2 a.m. San Francisco time or 2 p.m. And in both instances, he'd respond in like 30 seconds. And I'm like, the same person is just working 24 hours a day, has never slept. And it was incredible service. And I've heard that service has sort of fallen off of a cliff.
That's an interesting trick. I know Rumble Boxing. Yeah. They also have like an alias like that. I don't remember the name, but it's like Tommy at Do You Rumble. And it's like anytime you email Tommy, it goes to like every computer and whoever responds first is Tommy.
Yeah. We did that in Native. Like there was a girl named Julia Colbert. And I'll tell you what happened is when I was starting this thing, I went to a high school with a girl named Julia Colbert, and she had posted on Facebook when I was like creating my Help Scout account or like our customer service platform. And so I was like, okay, I need a girl's name because we're selling primarily to women. I want them to feel comfortable chatting with us. So I just took her name and put it on our Help Scout account.
Smart.
And she's gotten married, and so has a different last name, and I don't know what it is, but so there are, 30 customer service agents at Native. They were all Julia Colberts. Yeah. And we'd be like, how many tickets are in Julia today?
Yeah.
And people would be like, so is this a real person? And at one point I was like, let me ask her, I'll fly her in and I want her to meet the customer service team. And she'd be like, why are these people calling my name? This makes absolutely no sense. Like, I haven't chatted with her in 20 years.
Right.
But she, that one moment she had posted something on Facebook, and from
That's
that
what
moment,
you got it from.
Yeah, Julia Colbert has run all of customer service.
That's awesome. I think it's smart. I mean, for a long weekend, our customer service girl's name is Maria, and everything we send out is from Maria.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to do.
No one wants a company to email them.
Yeah, no one.
You want a person.
Yeah, they want a person, and like they want someone who they feel like they have a connection with, and they can be like, "Hey, here's a problem I'm having."
Right.
And one of the reasons we chose Help Scout instead of Zendesk, because if you get a customer service email from Zendesk and somebody responds, the response is like right above this email, like you please add all text above this line or something.
Right.
And I was like, this is so impersonal. I basically want our customer service to look like some person is sitting in their living room
using
in their underwear, responding to via Gmail.
Yeah.
Because I want you to feel like there's a personal connection between you and the CS agent that we've got doing this. And that's why we use Help Scout, because it looked like it was coming from Gmail.
That's awesome. All right. If you had 3 businesses to start.
Yeah.
Here's business number 1. Yeah. High AOV, low consumption, maybe once a quarter, 50% margin.
Low consumption means low repeat purchase
Low
rate.
repeat purchase.
Yeah.
And it's not a subscription though. Second business is low AOV, high consumption, 80% margin. It's bought once though. So I guess it wouldn't be high consumption. It'd be low AOV, 80% margin. You buy it once. Let's say it's like $30. Third business is low AOV, subscription, 15% margin. Which one would you go for?
I really like repeat purchase businesses. So I'm not sure which one that is on this list, but
I think the third one.
Okay, gotcha.
Subscription.
I think the trouble with single purchase items is that there's a big market for them possibly, and then everyone buys it, and that's the end of the business. Because you have good days and bad days of Facebook ads, but at some point you max out that scale because, look at Casper mattresses. I looked at Casper's 10K, and they're like, we have sub 15% repeat purchase rate, which makes sense. Like, how often are you buying a mattress?
Right.
But that means basically they sell you this $700 mattress, they have to be profitable, and they never talk to you again. Like, that's the end of the relationship. And with Native, what happened is that we just constantly kept building a larger and larger loyal customer base. And that fueled our growth and our revenue and our profitability. And I remember like in 2017, January 2017, we did like $1 million or $1.1 million in revenue. And I was like, by the end of 2017, I want to do $1 million in repeat customer revenue. Mm-hmm. And we did that in like May.
And what was your average percentage of repeat or subscription versus new?
It changed over time. Like, at the beginning, you're all new. And then, as you continue to grow, like, when we're probably
doing when you were like constantly growing?
Yeah, so I guess like 20% of customers were coming through as subscription customers.
Okay.
80% of customers were buying as non-subscription customers. Most of our repeat customers came in as non-subscription customers. And they came back to the product over and over again. And then, like the $1 million, that $1 million, you don't have to acquire those customers. You send out emails or whatever. And so we were super profitable on them. We're probably generating $400,000 or $500,000 of net profit a month on those customers. And we're not even talking about new customer acquisition. And that $400,000 or $500,000, a lot, like, if we had bad months in new customer acquisition, well, we were still profitable because we had this $400,000 or $500,000, or we could subsidize new customer acquisition. We could subsidize trying new things like podcasts or direct mail because we had this $400,000 or $500,000 in our pocket.
Right.
And so I'm a big fan of that because you don't have you can build a loyal customer base. And, when things got bad for us, which happened in like Q4 of every, December, no one's buying deodorant in December. Mm-hmm. It's not as hot out and you're not buying it as a gift. And so we were like relying on these new customers to fuel our business and give us revenue and maintain our revenue growth. And that was really great. It gave us a stable floor to go out and try and hunt new customers down while still continuing to grow the business and providing a profitable base. if we were a business that was like, Casper mattresses and Q4 was hot for us, but Q2 or Q3 wasn't, I'd be like, what are we doing here? It's Q3. We're not getting any sales. There's, no one coming back. There's no profitability here. That would have scared me.
Right. Totally.
What would you do?
I think I would do the low AOV, high consumption, 80% margin, because again, I like the repeat business as well. It's also just addicting. Like you see the numbers, you see like our subscriptions go at 10 a.m. every day is when the cards get swiped and the orders come in. And just seeing that long list of orders come in at between 10:10 and 10:11.
It's amazing.
It's addicting. Yeah. It's like a drug.
The other great thing about subscriptions, which we did multiple times, is we'd push the revenue. We're like, oh, we're running out of inventory. Push all the subscriptions 5 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're like, I have this stable base, but I actually don't need to charge them right now.
Right.
So, you get an email, but be like, okay, before that person gets an email, push that subscription down. So no one gets an email. We've got plenty of inventory for new customers. And when we get the new inventory batch in, we'll start fulfilling the subscription customers too.
Speaking of email, I think one of my favorite post-purchase emails was the one you wrote for Native. Do you remember what it was exactly? It was like, we're placing your deodorant on a beautiful pillow or something.
Yeah. I had just been to I'd gone to London. And so I was like, we have the person who polished the Queen's jewels, the crown jewels at the Tower of London is also polishing your deodorant and putting it on a pillowcase. And there's a bunch of people who did that before me.
Right.
Like there was somebody from eCommerce who, I don't know the brand that had it. The OG, I think, that did this was like CD Rack, which was like, we're singing Baby Hit Me One More Time while we're packing this thing. And it was great. And people love that. It's such a human connection, a great place to have fun.
Totally.
And it's basically the post-purchase and shipping confirmation emails were like fun like that. I tried to draft one for Lost Password as well, which is like, we know how hard it is to find your a lost remote in your sofa. We're going to try and make this as easy as possible. So you don't need to worry about it. Here's the link, click it. But we could never get anything funny enough. And I never had the time to like draft it.
Yeah. Email has become something that people hire agencies for a lot now. And I think one of the things that loses its soul is copywriting when you hire an agency.
Yeah.
Because most agencies come in and they come in with a playbook or a template of how to do this as quick as possible to make sure they're not losing money against what they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And so I think, this was actually one of the things I realized this week is like, we have an agency we use for Long Weekend, but like we got to write our own emails because just saying, thanks for your order's on the way is not exciting, but like saying something like, hey, it's Maria, you just placed this order for, insert amount and Bobby can't stop screaming about excitement because the ads are working. Or like something that just gets you fired up as a customer to read. But I just thought it was an interesting
realizes you're dealing
anecdote.
with a personal brand and not like Nike.
Exactly.
And it's really great.
Exactly.
We actually hired this Harvard grad who used to do like, who worked at the Comedy Cellar or wrote jokes for comedians to try and draft one of our emails as well. I thought that was really, that was a good way to
Comedians are perfect copywriters. Very underrated.
It's so true. Like, if I was running one of those double-decker bus tours, I'd basically get a comedian to write the whole thing because it'd be so entertaining.
Exactly.
It's nice to be like, okay, this is the Empire State Building and I'm interested in it. Give me a joke about it and I'll like love you, you know?
Yeah. You'll tell everybody about it.
Yeah. But, we're talking about new businesses for a second. You wrote a great suggestion for a business here, which is a pixel side hustle. Tell us about it.
So one thing I've learned is like, if you want to quickly make money, right? Let's say you're like, all right, I'm 19 years old or I'm 27 years old. I'm getting into this world of e-commerce. What's the fastest way to make money? You go to Google, you're not going to really find anything, right? You can say, you go to Google, you're like, I'm 19. How do I make money in e-commerce? It's going to be like, well, use Shopify, dropship, whatever. I think the best way to do it is you go to people who are like, who've been in this industry for a while and you say, what are like 15 problems you have or what are just 10 things that bother you, right?
Yeah.
And so I just did this exercise on myself and I thought, okay, what's something like when you're launching a brand, what's something that's like annoying and you cannot afford to fuck it up? And it's like pixeling your site, right?
So good.
Your Facebook pixel, your Snap Pixel, TikTok, Quora, Pinterest. Like there's so many pixels out there. Quantcast, Microsoft Clarity. There's things that you don't even think about, right? Like you think about pixeling, you're like, all right, Facebook, Google, make sure those are there, Google Analytics. But if you had added Microsoft Clarity, you can look at the heat maps and the scroll depth and user sessions. If you had added Quantcast Clarity or Quantcast Measure, you could see like exactly the demographic of your customers and how many are college educated and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's a business where it's a two-part business. So one side is you go to Moiz and you say, all right, Moiz, you're starting an e-commerce business. How much money are you going to do in your first year? Okay, you're going to do $500,000. Okay, how much money are you going to spend? You're going to spend $150,000 or $200,000 in ads. Like, give me $5,000. I'm going to go get you set up with every pixel, server-side tracking. I'm going to make sure that every button is pixeled so that you can have the best possible chance of your ad platforms knowing what to do. And then the second part of the business is you go to companies like Elevar and Microsoft and all these companies that you're going to install anyways. And you say, give me a cost for every brand I bring on, give me $1,000.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're going to probably end up winning Moiz' business once he's making $1 million to run some display retargeting, and he might spend $100,000 a month. Just give me $1,000 right now, and I'll make sure that he's so addicted to Quantcast, he's not going to want to get off. And so I think it's a great side hustle. I think it's something that you could do 3 of these a month and make $15K. And, it would take you like 2 hours per store to do.
I couldn't agree more with you. And I think you could go after even big businesses because, like, Facebook, now there's a conversion API. Not everyone has figured out conversion API or understands how important it is, and it's integrated it well. Google Analytics is great. Everyone starts with Google Analytics and activates the e-commerce thing, but you're right. Buttons on the site, no one's like, okay, I have a pop-up.
Right.
I'm tracking the, clicks of a submission rate through that pop-up.
Yeah.
Through Google Analytics. Everyone's tracking it through another platform. Or like my FAQ page. What are people opening up here?
Right.
I need a heat map.
What's the question that people look at the most?
Yeah, exactly. No one is pixel their site perfectly. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
So I think you're absolutely right. I think a pixel audit, you can give away a pixel audit or do a pixel audit.
Be free.
Like, you're missing all of these things. I'm going to go fix all this stuff. Give me $5,000. And virtually every business that's doing $1 million a year is like, for $5,000, this is such good value add for $5,000.
Exactly.
And something that I can't seem to figure out. Like, you need a lot of experience pixeling a lot of sites to be like, these are a few of the problems on the site. So for instance, when I look at a bunch of Facebook ads for different businesses, for some reason, I still see initiate checkout as more expensive than purchase. And I'm like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Like, because everyone who purchases has to have initiated checkout. And the CPA is cheaper than the CPI of initiating checkout. And so, the pixel is wrong. The pixel on initiate checkout is firing wrong. I'd love for someone to come in and fix those pixels.
Right.
And nobody knows, I just don't have the time or the bandwidth, and neither do these brands to go find those people. And so I think this is a great, great idea.
Yes. Whoever starts this should email us and we'll put you on.
Yeah. And like, I'd love to, we'll endorse you right here. And I'd love to, I'll give you your first 5 clients, basically.
$25,000 sitting right here.
Yeah, definitely.
For like 5 hours of work.
Good at this. Yeah. You have to understand
know it.
pixels.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is like, audits of like, for Klaviyo, for instance, I think another good business like this is, here's my open rate. How do I get my open rate up? Like, tell me the 10 easiest, give me 10 things that I should do to get my open rate up and to increase my deliverability, and put them in order of like most impact for like least amount of work.
Right.
Yeah, people are going to be like, you need to call your list more. Okay, who should I call? Like, should it be, okay, this person is a Gmail. You're sending this email to Gmail and they haven't opened up in 120 days. Don't send it to him. Yahoo, 180 days. Hotmail, 30 days. Give me like real detail here.
Right.
Tell me what list I shouldn't, what list I should exclude. Tell me that I should switch my, DNS server from Klaviyo to my own. Give me 10 tips here.
Right.
And help me increase my deliverability. I think that's a massive value add, and nobody's doing that either. And like every business is super reliant on those emails.
Building off that too, there is a world where, connecting your accounts is pretty easy now, right? You could use like Fivetran or some other company. And I think there's a world where like, if I'm a direct-to-consumer brand, I come in, I connect Facebook, I connect organic social, I connect email, PostScript, and Shopify. Every month, I get a report sent to me with data that's like, all the standard stuff, your revenue, your conversion rate, how it compared month over month, by week, maybe quarter over quarter. And then in addition, how it compares to other direct consumer businesses or other categories. So Veros kind of does that right now. But I think you take it a step further, and depending on variables. So let's say your conversion rate fell by 50% month over month. There should almost be like automated insights that populate. And it's like, how can you populate 100, maybe it's like 1,000 tips based on different variables. And then it just automatically gives you that report every month. Another way to do it is, there's macro trends that happen and like all businesses have the same issues. And it's like, how could you be the one guy sitting in your boxers on your couch, write one report and then attach it to data and send it to 1,000 companies every month?
You know who should do that? Is Shopify should do the last one. Because they're seeing all this information. They should be like, conversion rates are up or down. This is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not taking advantage of that and providing, arming their merchants with arming their rebels like they constantly say they are, instead of being like, hey, we're out buying Deliveroo now.
Right.
I think that you're absolutely right. That needs to happen.
Either Shopify could do it. I mean, they'd have the best data and they'd be able to fund the right people and team to do it. But I think it could also be like some kid who's like a nerd about Shopify and e-commerce and just sits at home and charges every brand like $500 a month to just get this report. Because everybody can get a report, but it's like the insights and the why is never there.
Yeah, agreed. I wish there was something like an emergency alarm bell as well on my website, where like sometimes I look at my website and I'm like, okay, or like, I look at Native's website and I'd be like, okay, sales are down. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I have to look at the conversion rate. I have to look at, is the same amount of customers that come through Stripe and PayPal still happening?
Yeah.
Is the same amount of like, are all the products populating? Is there a problem with our checkout page? Like, I wish there was a little bit of a, hey, something's going on. Your sales are down 10% from what they usually are today. And we think this is what the problem is.
There's actually a company called TrackstarHQ.com.
Well, that's a terrible
where it is a pretty bad name, but they claim to basically say that, you integrate everything. So like down to your Yotpo account. And if your credit card gets declined,
I don't have a Yotpo account.
If your credit card gets declined on Klaviyo and all of a sudden you're not sending an email, like this tells you in Slack.
Yeah. Okay. That's so good. Yes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your Facebook ad account would get shut down because they're like, we think you got hacked, and you're like, I didn't. Or, your credit card, one of the issues that we got with these credit cards that we were talking about at the beginning of our conversation here was that you hit the credit limit and you forget. Like one of the important things is you better pay off that credit card on a daily basis. Yeah. Otherwise you will stop, forget about there'll be you'll go from, oh, I'm making so much money through these credit card rewards points to, holy shit, the credit card rewards points just cost me 3 days of sales because my Facebook ads got shut down.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got a wait list. Okay, we've got to wrap up here, but I think one of the things that we want to do before we wrap up on all of these things moving forward on all of our podcasts is give out a shout out to brands that we really like, that we have not invested in, that we have no relationship with, or like, maybe know the people or use the product, but we really just enjoy the products.
Yeah.
So why don't you go first? I'd love to hear what you're a big fan of right now.
I got 3 that I'll shout out. One is Caged, which is the shirt I'm wearing. Phenomenal pre-workout. It's just a supplements brand, but it's a great supplements brand. I love their HydroCharge, which is their electrolyte mixer, and their pre-workout. The second one is Whoop, just because I don't think I've taken this thing off in months.
Wow.
But I love the data that comes from it.
Yeah.
And it's got me to I don't drink alcohol as a result of wearing my Whoop and tracking my sleep.
Wow.
And so so I love Whoop. Also, their blog is a phenomenal example of like what brands should be doing if they want to have a blog. I think most brands like waste money with their blog. They hire an SEO agency, which is great. But then the content they put out is, again, like going back to that email agency conversation, you can't have somebody else ideating your content or your strategy with any agency. The strategy has to be done internally. And, when you have like 7 party tricks of how to celebrate a wedding during COVID, like no one cares.
Sure.
Anyways, third brand I'd say is Italic. I think I wear Italic almost daily. Boxers and socks, great from Italic. Shoes, great from Italic. Workout shorts, great from Italic. I have a gym bag from Italic. The quality is truly phenomenal.
Really?
And I'm so unashamed to walk around with wearing everything Italic because the quality is insanely good.
I have never bought anything from there, but I'm going to check it out now.
So good. Like, I think if I pull up my Italic dashboard, I think I've saved like $4,000 or $5,000 shopping through Italic based on their calculations.
Yeah. Based on Yotpo's calculations, I've saved $1 million.
Right.
Using Yotpo.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love Italic, and I'm not invested in there, but if I could, I probably would.
Okay, I mentioned these two. For me, I really love Comtier Coffee. I've been living in Airbnbs for about 2 years now, and a shocking number of them don't have coffee machines.
Yeah.
But will have like a Keurig machine, and I'm not a big fan of a Keurig machine. And so I really have loved the Comtier stuff because all I need is basically
how do you make
hot water. What I'll do is when I wake up, I take the coffee out of the freezer, I boil some water, I go brush my teeth. I always try and drink a bottle of 16 ounces of water before I do anything. And then by the time I'm done with all of those, the thing is melted.
Loose enough.
And then I just drop it in the...
Got it. My Comtier trick is I'll wake up, take it out, put it in like a mug, coffee mug, and run hot water so it gets all liquid. And then I'll just put some ice and water and mix it in.
I thought you were going to say you shoot it then.
Oh, yeah, no. I snort it.
Yeah. The other business I really love is 10,000, which makes workout
I'm wearing some 10,000.
I always wear 10,000. I love
best.
10,000 so much.
Yeah.
It's huge in New York and LA. It's not big anywhere else. Like I've never, I never see people in like Dallas where I'm from using it.
Yeah.
I wish there was one idea like this. You mentioned that pixel idea. Here's a business idea for e-commerce that I don't think will work.
Just three ideas today.
This is mine, and I think it's a bad idea, but I wish it existed, which was I want to try boxers from MeUndies and Talik and The Big Favorite and everybody else who makes underwear, and same thing with socks, right? Like I want Bombas and MeUndies and Max Weldon or whatever they like. I want to try all of those to find out the ones that I like the most.
Yeah.
So I wish there was like, buy one pair from each of these companies for $100. You send me 10 boxers and a $50 or $100 gift card to one of them. So that I'm like, okay, you know what? I chose Max Weldon, although I hate that. Mac Weldon. I hate that brand. Terrible, terrible boxers. So send me all of them so I can try all of them, choose my favorite, and then use that gift card to go out and buy those.
Smart. From a customer acquisition cost standpoint, $50 plus the cost of COGS on socks is nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like the and that brand isn't even doing the sales, right? So it's basically you got to give me a $50 gift card or 10 pairs of socks, which will all be donated from that brand to do customer acquisition.
Right.
So I think it could be a small business. It's probably like a $1 million a year business. But I wish that existed because I would use it for boxer socks. And I've been looking for leggings that I wear under my shorts. I wear the exact same leggings every day.
Yeah.
In fact, I wash these every day because it's the only pair that I like, and I cannot find
brand
another
is that
one.
one?
Nike.
Okay.
And these are an old Nike style though, and they don't make this one any longer.
Have you tried 2X, that brand?
No.
Those are pretty solid, but I agree. Like I did this with black t-shirts because I was like, I want the best black t-shirt ever. And the one that I landed on was Western Rise, which like no one's heard of that company.
Yeah.
But that, in my opinion, is probably the best black t-shirt.
And think about how many you got to try, like from cuts to built to,
Mac Weldon, Nike, Western
so
Rise.
many of them.
Yeah, so
Give
many.
me 10 and then I can pick one that fits well, that I'm like, okay, I'm a medium in this or a large in this, and I can live on my life.
Exactly.
Anyway, so those are my two, CompTier and 10,000.
Cool.
Okay, what are we talking about next podcast? I'd love to talk about Ali Webb at Canopy. I think that's a huge deal.
Huge deal. She's their president now.
Yeah, that is a
founder
massive
of Dry
deal.
Bar.
I think we're going to be talking about Facebook and Shopify earnings,
with the earnings,
are going to be huge. We didn't get to this Andrew Youderian tweet, which I think I'd really love to dive into. I think, the crazy part is that he's like, we found that number one thing we found was ROAS is overrated. I don't think that that's the case, but I think we're talking about two different parts of the e-commerce world. So I'd love to dig into that as well.
Perfect. Oh,
awesome.
And one thing I also want to talk about is this like master report, what all you should be looking at on a daily basis, whether you're doing $1 million or $10 million a year.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, like Triple Whale constantly is like playing around with that.
Right.
And I think like, there are a lot of, outside of just the Triple Whale analytics, it should be like, what does my inventory look like on a daily basis? How many days, all those types of things.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome. Looking forward to the next episode.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise in CPG, retail, and e-commerce.
And if you enjoyed this episode, then why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on.